What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I got a new video for y'all. So today, honestly, I did not feel like making this video, but I'm gonna go ahead and make it because I already told a lot of people that I was gonna make this video. There's a few people that wanted me to make this video specifically. So today, man, we are gonna be installing a DSX tuning auxiliary fuel pump on the car. So obviously still don't have my motor back or anything. But I went ahead and got the aux pump, and we're gonna go ahead and throw that on. That way that side of it is done, and really all I need is the motor and the throttle body. So that way whenever we get that back, all I gotta do is order the throttle body, and then we throw everything on the car and it's ready to go. So today we're gonna be installing this DSX pump. And originally, so I was actually gonna make this video last weekend. Started the video, started the install. Turns out I had the wrong pump. So there was multiple things wrong with the pump that I had, or not the pump I should say, but the kit I ordered. So the pump was right, but the harness and the controller were wrong. So I originally ordered the map sensor harness, so the one that plugs into the map sensor. But the one I ordered wasn't even the one for this car. It was the one for the LT4. So it turns out the LT1 and LT4 have different map sensors. LT1 is a 3-prong. The LT4 is a 4-prong. So I ordered the 4-prong thinking that the LT1 and LT4 were the same, but they are not. Let me say, just for anybody wondering, the map sensor kit is for somebody that is boosted, or somebody that is maybe spraying nitrous. It's not for a naturally aspirated car. So that's where I messed up. I wasn't very informed on that. So I ended up ordering the wrong kit. So luckily DSX helped me out. They said send back the harness that I had and the controller, since they obviously weren't what I need. And they sent me, I had to pay the difference, but they sent me the harness and the controller for the kit that plugs into the park brake module. So multiple issues with that. I didn't know this. I thought it just plugged into the park brake module connector. I didn't know it actually plugged into the park brake module itself. I took mine out a long time ago, threw it away. So I had to buy another one, which I don't have yet. I'm hoping it'll come in the morning. In the morning. So in the morning, I'm gonna run up to work and see if it came in. We are closed tomorrow, but my boss said I can go in and check to see if that stuff came in. So I'm gonna see if it came in. And if it did, I'll just throw that in tomorrow. But tonight, I want to go ahead and get everything done as far as get the tank drilled and tapped, get all the lines set up, get the pump mounted, basically get everything ready to go, the harness connected. And that way, all I got to do is put that park brake module back in. And then I do have to fix the connector on that park brake module, because when I took it out, my car just started kind of acting a little weird electronically. And we wired in a resistor to that connector. So I have to solder those wires back together how they originally were. And then once that's done, then it'll be a matter of just plugging in the harness to that connector and to the park brake module. So let me just go ahead and show y'all the kit. Honestly, this kit that plugs into the park brake module is honestly way easier, way more simple of an install, which it is an easy install regardless, or simple I should say. But this CAN plug, that's what they call it. They call it the CAN plug. So for the CAN bus system, pretty much. So this harness is just simpler. Like, there's a little bit less to it. It's just a simpler setup. So let me show y'all that real quick. All right, so this is basically the whole kit. So we got the pump itself, drill and tap, which that is not part of the kit. You have to buy that separate. Definitely recommend doing that. On the tap, they tape where to tap to, so you basically just go to that point and then you stop. Comes with the bracket, the fittings, and the I guess you can call them the clamps or whatever you want to call it that actually hold the pump to the bracket, the harness, and then 2 fuel lines. That's it. Should be a very, very simple setup. Also, it comes with the adhesive that you put on the fitting that goes into the tank. So should be a very, very simple setup. One thing I do want to mention, so this is the bracket for the park brake module. I had to order that and the bolts. But one thing I do want to mention is the instructions are going to be a little off, or at least so I think. So the guy that I was speaking with DSX, he sent me the instructions, but they're on a C7. So for the most part, they're similar, but the way that everything is routed is different on the 6th gen. So basically, these instructions are for the map sensor installation. You're pretty much gonna connect the pump, the bracket, fuel lines. You're basically gonna do everything the same way that you would do on the map sensor kit, but you're gonna have to mount the controller in a different spot, and then obviously the harness plugs into different places. So let me, I guess, pull the harness out just so I can kind of explain where that goes, and then we'll actually get to installing everything. All right, so very simple. This end is going to plug into the park brake module itself. This end is going to plug into the park brake module connector. This end is going to plug into the DSX controller. And then this positive, and let me get that to focus. That thing does not want to focus. And then that positive and negative terminal right there, or wires, those will connect to the auxiliary pump itself. So on the auxiliary pump, it has basically two little studs. One's for the negative wire, one's for the positive wire. All right, guys, so it's like a week later. I'm gonna pick this video back up. I'm going to basically just end up showing the kit completed. I did finally end up getting the park brake module, put that in. It's just hard to, record and also, install everything by myself. So I already put pretty much everything together, put the harness in. Really all I have left to do is still solder those wires on the connector, which I'm not going to do today. But then today I'm going to mount the controller. So I talked to Ryan with GPI. He told me where they typically mount the controllers on these kits, since the instructions don't really tell you. So today I'm going to mount that. I'm probably going to end up drilling some holes to where I'm going to mount it, just to probably make it a little bit easier. But that's really all I'm going to do today, is just mount the controller, and I'm going to show you how everything is routed. That way y'all know exactly how it's supposed to look, or at least how everything's supposed to be routed, at least. All right, so I'm going under the car. This is the passenger side. Basically, here's the pump. So there's the bracket. It's gonna come with 3 bolts. So those 3 black bolts, that's what the kit comes with. And then that one silver one, that's one that you're gonna have to reuse. But basically, the clamps just fasten the pump to the bracket, and then the line connects to the front. So the line with that most curved fitting on it, that's the one that you're going to use for that. And I'll show y'all where that goes in a second. Let me just get around real quick. So let's see. All right, then you got those 2 studs. So those 2 studs are where the positive and negative cables on the harness are going to connect to. So that bottom one, I think, is the negative. Yeah, that bottom one is the negative. That bottom cable is the negative. You can see that negative mark right there, and then there's a positive mark on the top. Probably not going to be able to oh, there you can see it kind of between the line and the pump itself. You can see that positive mark. So basically that line runs down. See, I zip tied them across right there, and then that line runs to the actual main fuel line. So on that one, it's basically just a T-fitting that just fastens to the main fuel line and to the fuel hose that comes off of the pump, and then the line attaches to the side of it. So then basically it just feeds the fuel and back into that main line coming out of the back of the tank, feeds it back into that main line, and you just get a better fuel flow because the aux pump is just throwing it into the main line. And then the other side is going from the back of the pump, and then that's the one that goes to the tank. So see, I got it routed. I also got the harness attached to that. So it runs down, and then the way that the instructions tell you, let me scoot down. The instructions tell you to run it through, let's see. There's like a side brace, hold on, like right in here. They tell you to run it through there. I didn't run it through there, just because it was easier not to. So I'm gonna just let it hang down a little bit. Honestly, it's not hanging down very much, so it's not really anything that I'm too worried about. Hopefully I don't end up regretting that decision, but I guess we'll see. And then the fitting on the back of the tank, which I'll go in from the back and I'll show y'all a better angle of that from the back. All right, so now we're in here from the back. I might fix that fuel line actually. I was just kind of getting impatient when I was installing that. I might fix that and run it through that little brace, just so it is out of the way. We'll see, I guess. But basically, here's the fitting tapped into the tank. Drilling and tapping it, man, honestly, it is a little sketchy. I didn't really have the proper tools, so I put the tap in a socket and then used the wrench and just slowly turned it with the wrench. I know that's not the right way to do it, but that's how I did it. And then you got the green adhesive. So the adhesive supposedly stays pretty damp, so don't expect that to dry fully, but it does. It is supposed to, you know, seal the tank just fine. So just be careful when you're tapping it. Make sure, you know, you keep the tap straight and all that. Like I said, I was a little nervous. I thought I might have fucked it up, but it ended up threading in fine. So that's the fuel line attached to the back of the tank, which, like I said, I might fix that right now or today since I'm not really doing much, and run it through that brace right there. There's a gap. I might run it through there just so it is out of the way. Here's the harness. I'm gonna tighten that up too as soon as I get everything where I want it to be. I got it going up along that over, and then let me show y'all around. So let me turn my flash on real quick. All right, so now I got my flash on. So these are basically the connectors. That's a little resistor that we wired into that connector. Like I said, I still got to fix that. This is the original park brake connector. I'm gonna clean that connector out. I'm gonna blow it out with air whenever I'm ready to connect that to the harness. This is the controller, and then the connector for the controller. I plugged it in just to try to figure out where I was gonna mount it. Oh, sorry. I plugged it in just to figure out where I was gonna mount it, and then I couldn't get the connector out. So I'm gonna leave it plugged in, but I finally, you know, after talking to Ryan and Gio sent me a picture of how his is fastened down. I now know how I'm gonna do it, which is actually, you know, pretty simple. So and then up there, that's the park brake module up there. Let me see how good I can show y'all that. It's probably gonna be hard. Yeah, I ain't really gonna be able to show y'all that. Let me see. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna be able to show y'all that really, besides this. But basically it sits up there. The connector is back in there. So I already got that one connected to it. And then that's pretty much it, man. One end of the harness connects to the actual module. The other end, or one of the other ends, to the controller. And then there's gonna be one open connector that's gonna go to the original park brake module connector. So like I said, all I gotta do is solder those wires, and that'll be, then that'll be ready to connect. And then I gotta mount the, this controller right here. I gotta mount that. And where we're gonna mount that to this portion. So like I said, I might have to maybe drill a hole. I just need to tuck the controller over this, over the actual park brake module. So that's kind of a little bit better view of the module. So I just gotta tuck that over this cross member or whatever, and then fasten it down to this with zip ties. And that's pretty much it, man. So I guess let me go ahead and do that, and then as soon as I get done with that, I'll show you how that looks when it's done. And then I might also fix that fuel line and run it through that brace just so it is tucked out of the way. Because it would suck to, you know, catch something on that line and then it ripped the fitting out of the tank or something, you know, because then you're gonna have to buy a new fuel tank. So don't really want to have to do all that. So I might just go ahead and quit being lazy and just do it right. So let me go ahead and mount this controller and I will show you as soon as we're done. All right, so I basically had to redo everything. So I'm gonna have to show y'all real quick. Let me get down here. Alright, hold on, let me turn the flash back on. Alright, so there's the park brake module, one of the connectors. I had to basically take the harness out and reroute it. And I went ahead and rerouted the fuel line, so I did put it through that brace. To put it through that brace, you have to take basically the fuel line can't be connected. So on the end that connects down there to the aux pump, that end is straight. That's the end that you have to feed through that hole. Because if you try to put that curved fitting through that hole and slide it through, it catches. So you got to put that straight end through it and then run it back down towards the aux pump. But I ran that and the harness through that little gap like you're supposed to. And then the harness runs up and over right through there and then around and then to the park brake module. Another thing I noticed while I was down here, can't see it now because I tightened it, but I had an axle bolt loose, so I went ahead and tightened that. But so that end is connected. Like I said, that end's not connected because we need to fix that connector before I connect those. It doesn't really matter anyways because I don't know why that went off. Hold on one second. All right, so I guess my phone is overheating, so the flash won't work right now. But anyways, that's where we mounted the module. That's how GPI does it. I didn't even need to drill a hole really, so you can run it through that hole to that hole. And then there's two holes over here that you can run them through. So you basically just zip tie that, connect the connector. This harness is literally like just long enough. So if you have it routed perfectly, then it's long enough. I originally when I rerouted it just a while ago, the terminal, or I guess the positive and negative cables weren't quite reaching the actual aux pump. So I had to come back down here, pull a little bit more slack, which there was not a lot of slack. So I had to pull that little bit that I had left, I had to pull that slack back out. And then it was able to barely reach the aux pump. So the harness is literally like just long enough. If you have it set up right, then everything will reach barely. So yeah, that's pretty much that, man. Everything else is pretty much the same. I did have to take down the fuel lines to reroute them through there and all that, but I zip tied everything back up how it's supposed to, and everything's connected minus that one connector. So that's pretty much it, man. That's pretty much how this kit is supposed to look while it's installed. And like I said, this is for the naturally aspirated combinations. This is a kit for the naturally aspirated combinations, not the map sensor combinations, which would be for boosted or nitrous cars. But yeah, there you go. All right, guys, so that's how it's supposed to be routed. That's how the kit is supposed to look once it's installed. Like I said, I know I didn't really record me actually doing anything, actually doing the work, just because it's kind of hard for me to record and do it by myself, especially, you know, when the cars, you're having to lay on the ground and, you know, constantly reach up for everything. So at least y'all get to see how it's supposed to look once everything's connected. I showed y'all. It's a very simple kit. It really is a very simple kit. The hardest part is drilling and tapping the tank. Besides that, everything is very, very simple. I don't want to say it's super easy, but it's not hard either. It's just kind of time consuming. And the harness can be a little difficult trying to finagle it into the right little areas to, you know, get everything routed properly. But once you do, it's super easy. The pump itself bolts up really easy. The lines, you know, are obviously really easy. So just if you watch this video, just take this video, take the advice that I'm giving as far as exactly how to route it, because if like how I had the harness routed originally, when I had it zip tied to the brackets of the fuel tank, it was not going to reach. The harness was not going to reach that controller. So, like I said, the harness is barely long enough if you have it routed properly. And the proper way to do that is running it through that gap and that brace on the passenger side and then up and around, and then it's barely long enough. So that's the way that you're supposed to do it, and that's how it's supposed to look. So I hope this video, was informative for y'all. Apologize for not recording me actually doing anything, but figured I would at least give y'all something, because for me, it was kind of confusing. And I just want to say this again, just to make sure it's very, very clear. For the naturally aspirated combinations, you got to have the kit that plugs into the park brake control module. So it's going to say, I think on GPI's website it says like CAN connector or something like that. So you got to make sure you select that. Don't select one of the map sensor ones, because that's not what you need. I don't know why on GPI's website it still gives you all three options once you click on the NA kit, because I clicked on the NA kit and I saw all three options, but I thought I needed the map sensor one. I didn't know I had to have the park brake module one. So I chose the map sensor one, which I still ended up choosing the wrong one anyways. But so I don't know why it even gives you those other two options on the NA kit on their site. But for some reason it does. So when you do that, make sure you order the one that plugs into the CAN connector. All right. As far as an update on the car, man, like I said, all I really need now is the throttle body and the motor, obviously. I was planning to go, I think in the last video I said that I was going to be getting it next month, which would be September. It's now September. I messaged Kevin, and I was like, hey, I went ahead and set my vacation in September. Is that going to be enough time? He finally got back to me, and he does not think that it's going to be done by then. I know we're still waiting on the cam. We're still waiting on heads. So how long it's going to take till I get that back, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Everything is paid for. Besides the intake manifold, which that I'm paying cash for. But as far as the build itself, it is paid for completely. So literally I'm just waiting on a call or a text to say, hey, the motor's done, or the motor's about to be done. And then I'm gonna, probably within a couple weeks from me hearing that, I'm gonna schedule some time off of work. That way I can go get it. Because literally now that the aux pump is done, it's just a matter of throwing in the motor, putting the converter back in, obviously, but basically putting in the motor and then a throttle body. That's really about it as far as getting it running. And then I still will need a hood. I still need trunk. Still need shocks. But as far as to get it running, all I need is the motor and the throttle body. That's about it. And I could race it, honestly. I could race it like that. I don't necessarily need the shocks to race. I'm gonna want the shocks to race because I feel like I'm going to need it, especially trying to use second gear. I feel like with the stock suspension, as light as my car is, it's going to be very hard to put the power down. So I want to do that for sure. But the main thing is obviously getting the motor back, getting it in, throttle body, and then a hood. Honestly, the trunk I'm not super worried about because I still have my stock trunk lid. So the main thing, motor, throttle body, hood, and we're pretty much ready to go. So hope y'all enjoyed this video, man. I'll keep y'all in the loop as soon as I go to GPI to pick up the motor. I'll probably make a video on that. Like I said, I honestly, at this point, I have no idea when it's going to be. I was hoping it would be later this month, but now it's not really looking like that. It could maybe still be if they get the parts in really quick, but I kind of doubt it, man. So I'm hoping maybe next month or November. Hopefully next month. That would be better, but I'm itching, man. I'm itching to get back out there, and we're very, very close. Like I said, now it's just a matter of basically getting the motor, and that's about it. So if y'all enjoyed this video, man, I hope it was informative for y'all. If y'all enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. If y'all new to the channel, man, please subscribe. If you like my content and you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. Like I said, the comeback's gonna be good, man. We're gonna be active, super active. We're gonna come back. Lots of road racing to start out with, and then obviously once I get suspension, drive shaft, then we'll start worrying about some digs and stuff. But we're going to get really active, man. We're going to get really active, even more active than we were already. So I'm excited, man. And I think y'all should be excited too, because we're going to put in some work, man. We're going to put in some work, and we are, just going to do what we do what we have been doing, when the car was previously out, and just continue to put in work, continue to make people mad, and, just do our thing. So like I said, if you like this video, subscribe, give it a thumbs up. I'll catch you on the next video.